The 1970s were a wild time for food, and while some dishes became legends, many incredible recipes have faded into history. But today, we're bringing them back. These are the recipes from the 70s that you need to eat in your lifetime. In the heart of American home kitchens, practicality and comfort often dictated what ended up on the dinner table. The 1970s were no different, embracing meals that were both economical and satisfying. Chicken in a biscuit casserole. One dish that embodied this philosophy was chicken in a biscuit casserole, a simple yet filling combination of shredded chicken enveloped in a creamy, savory sauce, all crowned with golden, flaky biscuit dough. Though its origins are difficult to pinpoint, dishes like this became increasingly common as canned soups and refrigerated dough products surged in popularity. Convenience was king, and busy households needed meals that could be prepared with minimal effort, yet deliver maximum comfort. The emergence of electric ovens in nearly every home made baking casseroles an everyday affair, and this particular dish quickly earned its place at dinner tables across the country. Biscuits had long been a staple in rural American cuisine, and combining them with a hearty, protein-rich filling was a logical step forward. Today, modern interpretations lean toward health-conscious adaptations, replacing condensed soups with homemade roux-based sauces or swapping in whole wheat biscuits. Spanish cream custard. Light, delicate, and just the right amount of indulgent, Spanish cream custard was a dessert that felt fancy without demanding hours in the kitchen. A cross between a classic custard and a gelatin dessert, it relied on eggs, milk, and just enough gelatin to give it structure without turning it into a firm mold. The result was a silky, airy treat with a texture somewhere between pudding and mousse. Custards had been a fixture in European and American cooking for centuries, but by the 1970s, home cooks sought lighter, more effortless desserts. Spanish cream custard delivered the richness of a traditional custard while requiring less time over the stove. The added gelatin allowed it to hold its shape while still melting on the tongue. Culturally, this dish reflected the era's growing appreciation for international flavors. Modern adaptations often replace gelatin with cornstarch for a creamier consistency, or introduce plant-based milk for a dairy-free version. Watergate cake. Few desserts from the 1970s combined intrigue with indulgence quite like Watergate cake. Characterized by its pale green hue, this layered treat featured boxed white or yellow cake mix, instant pistachio pudding powder, whipped topping, and a dusting of shredded coconut. Some recipes even called for chopped walnuts or pecans to add crunch. The cake's name sparked endless debates. Was it a tongue-in-cheek nod to the infamous Watergate scandal, or simply a catchy marketing strategy by General Foods to boost pudding sales? Regardless of origin, Watergate cake became a potluck phenomenon. Home bakers loved how quickly the cake came together. Mix the dry ingredients, fold in whipped topping, and bake. After cooling, a second layer of whipped topping and coconut transformed the cake into a showstopper. Its light, nutty flavor and airy texture stood in contrast to the heavier, denser desserts of earlier decades. By the mid-1970s, Watergate cake appeared in community cookbooks, church luncheons, and holiday spreads nationwide. Cheese, souffle loaf. With the airy texture of a souffle but the sliceability of a loaf, cheese souffle loaf was the kind of dish that looked sophisticated but remained approachable. This was a reflection of how home cooking evolved in the 1970s, a decade where French-inspired cuisine gained traction in American households, but not everyone had the time or patience for a traditional souffle. Enter this clever alternative. By baking cheese, eggs, and a small amount of flour into a structured loaf, home cooks could achieve the delicate, airy texture of a souffle without worrying about the dreaded collapse. It was a shortcut to sophistication, offering the best of both worlds. Cheese had already been a staple of mid-century cooking, and this dish fit perfectly into the era's love of rich, baked cheese-based recipes. Some versions incorporated sharp cheddar, while others leaned into milder flavors like Swiss or Gruyere. Today, modern adaptations sometimes reduce the flour for a gluten-free twist or introduce herbs and spices for added complexity. But at its core, this dish remains a fascinating example of 1970s ingenuity, where the pursuit of convenience never came at the expense of creativity. Pot roast. Pot roasts have been a central part of American culture and cuisine, with each region and family adding their own twist to the classic dish. Whether made with beef chuck roast, potatoes, a beefy broth, and carrots, or featuring boneless chuck roast with olive oil and bay leaves, variations abound. This hearty meal is perfect for large family dinners or gatherings, consistently delivering comfort and satisfaction when prepared by a seasoned cook. Hamburger potato bake. During the 1970s, families looked for ways to stretch ingredients without sacrificing flavor. Hamburger potato bake answered this need perfectly. A hearty assembly of seasoned ground beef, thinly sliced potatoes, and creamy condensed soup baked to bubbly perfection. Often seasoned with onion soup mix or garlic powder, the dish delivered savory comfort in every bite. Convenience foods powered this casserole's rise. Pre-shredded cheddar cheese and frozen peas or corn could be layered between potatoes and beef, while French fried onions added a crispy topping. The result was a versatile dish. Swap beef for ground turkey, add a layer of sliced tomatoes for acidity, or mix in mushrooms for earthiness. At potlucks and family dinners, hamburger potato bake showcased Midwestern sensibilities, frugal, filling, and flexible. Nutritionists of the era praised casseroles for their ability to include multiple food groups in one pan. Today, home cooks might create a homemade cheese sauce instead of relying on cans or use sweet potatoes for added vitamins. Fresh herbs like thyme or rosemary bring aromatic depth, and Greek yogurt can lighten the sauce. Despite these tweaks, the essence, a budget-friendly, crowd-pleasing meal, remains the same. Hawaiian meatloaf. By the 1970s, meatloaf had already cemented its place as a weeknight staple in American households. But as the decade embraced tropical influences in cooking, a new variation emerged. Hawaiian meatloaf, blending the hearty comfort of ground beef with the sweetness of crushed pineapple and a tangy glaze. The idea of pairing pineapple with savory dishes wasn't new. Hawaiian-inspired recipes had surged in popularity during the mid-20th century, largely due to the post-war fascination with Polynesian cuisine. The rise of tiki culture, fueled by themed restaurants and island-inspired cocktails, led home cooks to experiment with sweet and savory flavor combinations. Adding pineapple to meatloaf wasn't just about taste. It was about bringing a bit of exotic flair to the dinner table. Canned pineapple was an affordable, shelf-stable ingredient that could transform an everyday meal into something unexpected. Some recipes leaned into the sweetness, while others balanced it with soy sauce or Worcestershire sauce to add depth. Today, Hawaiian meatloaf has found new life, with modern adaptations often swapping breadcrumbs for panko or using leaner meats like turkey. Stuffed deviled chops. The art of deviling, adding bold seasonings to a dish, found its way into pork chops in the 1970s. Stuffed deviled chops featured center-cut pork chops, slit open and filled with a zesty mixture of breadcrumbs, Dijon or yellow mustard, Worcestershire sauce, and spices like paprika and black pepper. The chops were then seared and baked until the stuffing crisped and the meat reached juicy tenderness. Deviled eggs had long been party favorites, and this pork variation capitalized on that flavor profile. Home cooks appreciated that a small package of breadcrumbs could transform inexpensive chops into an elegant entree. Often, the stuffing included grated onion or celery for texture, and a sprinkle of Parmesan added umami richness. Contemporary versions of stuffed chops focus on ingredient quality: artisanal mustard, homemade breadcrumbs from day-old bread, and pasture-raised pork. Some chefs introduce apple chutney or dried cranberries into the stuffing for a sweet counterpoint, while others wrap the chops in prosciutto for extra saltiness. Yet the core principle, infusing pork with a punch of savory, tangy flavors, continues to resonate. Porcupine meatballs. Porcupine meatballs made their claim to fame by combining canned food, simplified sauces, and budget-friendly meatballs into an easy, crowd-pleasing dish. This recipe required minimal ingredients: ground beef, uncooked rice, onion, and canned tomato soup, making it extremely beginner-friendly and cost-effective. The name porcupine comes from the appearance of the meatballs, as the rice grains poke out during cooking, resembling porcupine quills. This dish gained popularity during the Great Depression and continued to be a household favorite through the 1950s and 1970s. It provided a different yet familiar alternative to staples like casseroles, meatloaves, and pot roasts. However, its presence has diminished in modern kitchens, possibly due to rising ingredient costs and the increasing trend of takeout culture. Bologna cups. Resourcefulness has always been a defining trait of home cooking, and few dishes exemplify that better than Bologna cups. A simple yet inventive creation, this dish transformed a humble slice of bologna into an edible vessel filled with mashed potatoes, eggs, or even creamed vegetables. What started as a budget-friendly meal quickly became a quirky favorite in American kitchens during the 1970s. Bologna had long been a staple of frugal cooking, especially in post-war America, when processed meats were widely available and inexpensive. By the time the 70s rolled around, bologna wasn't just for sandwiches anymore. It was being fried, stuffed, and repurposed in ways that made it feel like something more than just a lunchbox filler. Fried bologna was already a Southern tradition, but shaping it into crispy golden cups took it to another level, offering both texture and versatility. Some variations used scrambled eggs for a breakfast twist, while others turned them into bite-sized appetizers topped with cheese or a dollop of mustard. Modern adaptations have seen bologna cups reimagined with gourmet fillings, but their original charm remains proof that sometimes the best ideas come from making the most of what's already in the fridge. Crown jewel dessert. For dinner guests in the 1970s, presentation mattered as much as taste. Crown jewel dessert delivered both: vivid cubes of cherry, lime, and orange gelatin suspended in a fluffy blend of whipped topping and miniature marshmallows. Often served in a large glass bowl or trifle dish, the dessert shimmered under dining room lights like a treasure trove of sweet gems. The recipe's base, instant gelatin, came in a rainbow of flavors. Home cooks layered different colors for a striped effect or combined them all for a mosaic appearance. The whipped topping, sometimes folded with cream cheese, lent a silky contrast to the chewy marshmallows. Occasional additions included crushed pineapple or mandarin oranges for juiciness. Modern takes on crown jewel dessert embrace fresh ingredients: homemade fruit gelées set with agar-agar, real whipped cream lightly sweetened with honey, and house-made marshmallows. Seasonal fruit, pomegranate arils, kiwi slices, or berries replaces artificial colors, making the dessert as vibrant as it is delicious. Even so, the original's playful charm, a celebration of color, texture, and effortless assembly, remains a nostalgic favorite. Ham salad spread. Resourcefulness has always played a major role in American home cooking, and few dishes demonstrate that better than ham salad spread. Made from finely chopped ham mixed with mayonnaise, and often combined with pickles or boiled eggs, this spread was a staple at gatherings, offering an easy, budget-friendly way to repurpose leftover ham. The concept of meat-based spreads wasn't new. Versions of ham salad had been appearing in cookbooks since the early 20th century, evolving from European-style potted meats. By the 1970s, as convenience foods dominated kitchens, this dish became even more popular, especially for church socials, picnics, and family potlucks. With a texture somewhere between pâté and tuna salad, it was versatile enough to be served on sandwiches, crackers, or even stuffed into celery sticks for an appetizer tray. Culturally, this dish reflected a time when no food went to waste. Leftover holiday ham could be transformed into a completely new meal with just a few simple ingredients. Some variations leaned tangy, using sweet relish or mustard, while others took a creamier approach with extra mayo or a touch of sour cream. Alpine chicken. Continuing the casserole tradition, Alpine chicken gained popularity for its comforting combination of ingredients, including the distinctive addition of Swiss cheese. Americans' love for cheese contributed to this dish's lasting impression on families. Typically prepared with cream of mushroom soup and breadcrumbs or stuffing mix layered with chicken breasts, sometimes substituted with thighs, it was baked until the cheese melted. This dish peaked in popularity during the post-war era when cooks sought more convenient meal options without spending excessive time in the kitchen. The use of crock pots and recipes like Alpine chicken brought ease and enjoyment back into home cooking. Grandma's squash casserole. Grandma's squash casserole was a beloved staple in Southern cuisine, offering a delicious way to incorporate nutritious vegetables into dinner. Squash, rich in vitamins A and C, potassium, and fiber, made this dish both wholesome and flavorful. Typically popular in the summer when squash was abundant, the vegetable could also be frozen to enjoy the casserole year-round. Highly customizable, Grandma often added cooked bacon, sausage, or fresh herbs to enhance the flavor. The secret ingredient that gave this dish its unique taste was a dash of hot sauce, adding a subtle kick that made it irresistible at potlucks and family gatherings. Poke cake. Poke cake hit the scene in the 1970s, exciting homebakers with its versatility and fun preparation. After baking a simple vanilla or chocolate cake, holes are poked all over it and filled with Jell-O, pudding, or sweetened condensed milk. This technique allows the filling to soak into the cake, resulting in a moist dessert with layers of flavor. Jell-O heavily promoted this idea, demonstrating how a plain cake could transform into a showstopper. Its adaptability allowed for various fillings to suit different tastes. However, as preferences shifted towards less sugary options, poke cake gradually lost its spotlight. Typically served in a casual, family-friendly manner, it was often topped with whipped cream, fruit, or sprinkles to enhance its appeal. Sausage gravy and biscuits. Originating in the southern United States, sausage gravy and biscuits became a staple due to their simplicity and heartiness. The dish consists of soft dough biscuits covered in white gravy made from the drippings of cooked pork sausage, flour, milk, and often bits of sausage or other meats. This combination provided a high-calorie meal that was both inexpensive and filling, making it especially popular among laborers in the late 19th century. Green bean casserole. Green bean casserole, a dish that has become synonymous with American holiday gatherings, has its origins in marketing innovation. Developed in the 1950s by Dorcas Riley, a home economist at Campbell's, the casserole was created to promote the company's cream of mushroom soup. The original recipe combined green beans, the creamy soup, and fried onions, offering a convenient and tasty side dish that resonated with busy homemakers. The casserole's appeal lies in its simplicity and the harmonious blend of flavors and textures. The tender green beans provide a vegetal freshness, while the creamy soup binds the ingredients together and the crispy fried onions add a savory crunch. Over the years, families have adapted the recipe, incorporating ingredients like cheese, bacon, or different types of nuts, making it a personal and evolving tradition at many tables. While traditionally associated with Thanksgiving, green bean casserole has transcended the holiday season, appearing at various gatherings and potlucks throughout the year. Its enduring presence on American tables reflects a blend of convenience, tradition, and the collective memory of shared meals. 7UP salad. Bright, Jiggly and packed with unexpected ingredients, gelatin salads were a staple at potlucks, holiday gatherings, and church suppers. Few embodied the era's love for playful food quite like 7-Up salad, a sweet and citrusy concoction that combined lime jello, crushed pineapple, mini marshmallows, and of course, 7-Up for an extra fizzy lift. The fascination with gelatin-based dishes stretched back decades, but by the mid-20th century, food manufacturers were marketing them as versatile, family-friendly options. Jell-O was no longer just a simple dessert. It was the foundation for countless salads that often blurred the line between side dish and dessert. Adding soda to the mix wasn't just about flavor. It introduced carbonation, making the texture lighter and giving it a slightly effervescent quality. It required no baking, minimal prep, and could be made in advance, perfect for busy households. Some versions even folded in cream cheese or whipped topping for a creamier finish. Today, gelatin salads have become more of a nostalgic novelty than an everyday dish. But 7-Up salad remains a quirky reminder of a time when food was just as much about fun as it was about flavor. Brown butter sweet potato pie. Crafting the perfect brown butter sweet potato pie is a baking endeavor that many grandmothers have mastered over generations. This dessert combines a flaky pie crust with a velvety sweet potato filling, often topped with whipped cream, or traditionally, a drizzle of maple syrup. The addition of brown butter imparts a nutty, caramelized flavor that elevates the pie to new heights. Visually, the pie's rich brown and caramel hues make it an inviting centerpiece at any gathering. This dessert not only satisfies the palate, but also serves as a connection to family traditions and culinary heritage. Cheesy scalloped potatoes. A staple in many households, cheesy scalloped potatoes are cherished for their comforting blend of tender potato slices baked in a rich, creamy cheese sauce. The term scalloped refers to the method of layering thinly sliced potatoes, often interspersed with onions and a creamy sauce, then baking until tender with a golden brown top. Grandmothers often added personal touches, such as a dash of nutmeg, garlic, or paprika to enhance the flavor profile. This dish exemplifies the heart of home cooking, simple ingredients transformed into a comforting meal. Cherry cola pulled pork. Pulled pork, a dish deeply rooted in American culinary tradition, is celebrated for its versatility and ability to feed a crowd. The slow-cooked tenderness of the pork, combined with a flavorful sauce, has made it a favorite at gatherings and family meals. Introducing cherry cola into the mix adds a unique twist to this classic. The sweetness of the cherry cola melds with the tanginess of barbecue sauce, creating a complex flavor profile that is both unexpected and delightful. Slow cooking the pork in this mixture allows the meat to absorb the rich, sweet, and tangy flavors, resulting in a dish that is both comforting and innovative. While the concept of combining soda with barbecue might raise eyebrows, the practice aligns with America's tradition of culinary experimentation. Utilizing readily available ingredients like cherry cola reflects the country's penchant for innovation in the kitchen. This dish exemplifies how familiar flavors can be reimagined to create something new and exciting, all while honoring the tradition of slow-cooked, savory pulled pork. Candied carrots. In the mid-20th century, candied carrots emerged as a popular side dish, especially among middle-class families. This dish involves boiling carrots and glazing them with a mixture of honey, maple syrup, brown sugar, and butter, resulting in a sweet and tender accompaniment to any meal. The practice of candying vegetables was part of a broader trend where sweetening vegetables made them more palatable, particularly for children. Despite its simplicity, this dish offers a delightful blend of flavors and textures, showcasing the era's creativity in the kitchen.